Hello, I'm Gary Stearman, and this is Prophecy Watchers. We have a guest, one of my favorite people in the world. He has traveled here from Las Vegas, Nevada. His name is Billy Crone. And Billy, let's just begin by saying Las Vegas is not all bad. You may have heard some things about it, but you have a church there. Tell people about your church.
Yeah, Sunrise Bible Church. Our website, sunriselv, is in lasvegas.com, sunriselv.com. And we literally are on a hill, and I don't think it's by chance, on the edge of Las Vegas, and we could oversee the whole valley there where God has placed us. But we literally consider ourselves as a group of Christians in Sin City, Las Vegas, as a light on the hill. And that's our desire, is to reach certainly Las Vegas, our community that God has placed us in, with the truth, that souls will be saved. But also we have the privilege, as you know, through modern technology, that we could also reach the world. So we're serious, and we take our name serious too, Sunrise Bible Church. You come to our church, and guess what you're going to get? The Bible.
The Bible.
You're going to get all the Bible, including the stuff that unfortunately most Christians have never heard about, including 1/3 of the Bible called Bible prophecy.
Now, right now, the thing that I want to discuss is your book. It's called Klaus Schwab, Eugenics and the Rise of the Nephilim. It's a hefty book. I haven't had time to read it word for word. I've read through it.
Right.
I wanted to be prepared for talking with you. But what's this book all about?
This is the other half of the Great Reset that Klaus Schwab and the global elites are cramming down our throats. Most people don't realize there's two sides of the same coin called the Great Reset. And most people are starting to get equipped on the first side of that coin. That is, the Great Reset is an economic reset where these guys, shocker, want to bring about a destruction of the American economy because we are the dollar, which is the backbone of the current global economy.
Well, pardon me for interrupting, but aren't we already seeing that destruction?
Well, that's why Biden was brought in. We have on tape, Gary, Biden is Klaus Schwab's one of his favorite disciples. I share the actual, he was at the World Economic Forum in 2016. Klaus speaks glowingly over him and said basically he's been his hardest working disciple even before he was vice president under Obama. Coming there, even went back when he was a part of Congress and things of that nature. And then Biden gets up and starts talking about the coming digital revolution. And you're like, well, gee, Joe, which digital revolution are you talking about? But anyway, he was brought in, Trump was taken out, Biden was brought in for such a time as this. If you're going to reset the global economy, you have to get rid of the current global economy, which is based on the dollar. Well, who's that? That's us. That's America.
Yes.
So if you're going to reset it, you have to destroy the current system so you can have a crisis, an excuse to create the new system. This is the Great Reset. This is why Biden was brought in. He's been handpicked. I call him Klaus Schwab's SS agents. He's a part of what's called the World Economic Forum that Klaus started in 1971. And basically, he's groomed these people, world leaders, planted them in every developed country, including our own, unfortunately. And so he was brought in to dismantle. But most people, my point is, Gary, most people are familiar with this part now of the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab in the game. They want to reset the global economy into not just a new economy, not based on the dollar, but a digital economy. And it's one that they want to biometrically tie people into. Well, what's that? It has everything to do with Bible prophecy, Mark of the Beast. And that was our last big study on this. This one, again, why I'm super stoked about it is because this is the other half of the Great Reset that hardly anybody's talking about, but it's just as much on tape as the other half. And that is, they don't want just an economic reset in this Great Reset, they want a human reset. These same guys, the second part is they want to turn humanity into a planet of non-humans. I'm not joking.
Now, let me just interrupt to clarify, because on the front of the book, it says there's this word eugenics.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Now, a lot of you may have heard about the word eugenics and in various contexts. Billy has really waxed eloquent in this book about eugenics.
Right.
Give us a little look at what you're writing about.
Well, and again, we trace the trail. It's like, okay, where did these guys get this idea from? Not just an economic reset, but now they want to reset humanity. By the way, this is their terms, the new neo-humanity, augmented humanity. Post-human species, human 2.0, but basically non-humans. But you're going like, where'd you get this idea from? Well, it's a eugenics thinking. Gene, EU means good, genes, it's from the Greek there.
Okay.
And that's where that word comes from. But it comes from Shocker, Hitler. And this is the importance of understanding Klaus Schwab and the gang's background. Klaus Schwab grew up in Hitler's Germany. His dad was buddies with the Nazis. His company that his dad owned helped the Nazis with all kinds of things. He won awards from the Nazis. This is the place that Klaus grew up in. And so it's not surprising that he carries that same Nazi mentality to create a new and improved human race that Hitler called the Aryan race. Now, you can't call it the Aryan race because that's too obvious. So it's just augmented humanity, human 2.0, all these new terms that they want to do. Now, we also trace the trail that most people don't realize with this eugenics. The eugenics movement, Gary, started in England. It hopped the pond, believe it or not, over here to America. Then it hops back over to Germany that influenced Hitler. Now, I'm not giving him a free pass with what he did, but you need to understand that this idea has been around for quite some time, that it is now their job as elites with science and technology that we need to improve the human race, which is exactly Hitler's mentality.
And speaking of technology, we now have much more sophisticated technology.
Yes.
You use words in your book like CRISPR and mRNA, and you talk about germline technology. And in other words, this book is educational.
Right.
If you want to know what the programs are and how they're proceeding, this is the book for you.
Yeah, well, and again, to use in a nutshell, when you mentioned just those two technologies, there's others out there. CRISPR, right, that you can edit individual DNA strands, slice and dice.
Wow,
right?
That's spooky.
And that's been around since at least 2012. But then you also have the mRNA technology, modifying people's RNA. And, but these are technologies that are already being utilized. And part of what we do is you say, well, I'm not going to let them get meat. No, you're already being genetically modified in a bunch of different ways, and you don't even know. We expose that. But these are technologies, Gary. If Hitler had these, he would have gone nuts. Wow. Most people don't realize, and we take a deep dive on Hitler and the eugenics background. And basically what Schwab and the gang are doing is they're taking what Hitler wanted to do, and they're now extrapolating that to the whole planet against our will, by the way. But basically Hitler, he had a program, it's called the Lebensborn program. And he was doing thousands and thousands of kids that he would do with the, if you will, the low-tech way to try to create this blonde hair, blue-eyed Aryan race. And it's still on tape. This is legit things that he was doing. But if he had this technology, he would have gone crazy. The sad thing is, guess what? These guys are doing it. Now, another thing that we bring out is you're like, well, how could this Nazi mentality be repeated again today, even here in America?
Right.
Well, but we trace the trail. It was something, and I say it's a mistake. You reap what you sow. And what happened was there was an operation in 1945. It's called Operation Paperclip. In Operation Paperclip, the United States of America brought over 1,600 plus Nazi scientists. They weren't all rocket scientists, right? There's that latest movie out, Oppenheimer, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, well, see, that was a good thing because he helped us with the space race and all this other stuff. Listen, and we have it on record. A lot of these guys that came over, they weren't just ardent Nazis and didn't turn away from that mentality. They were also geneticists into the eugenics movement of Hitler. Well, that began to permeate. We brought to our own country over 1,600 of these guys to the United States of America. And you wonder why it's now being permeated across the planet again today. We did the dirty deed. And my thing was, you need to be consistent. And people say, well, we had to do that to bring these scientists over, these Nazi scientists, to keep up, so Russia wouldn't get away from us and all this stuff. Listen, two wrongs don't make a right, right? These guys should have been tried at the Nuremberg trials and taken care of, right? But this is what happened. And so what that did is that planted the dirty seed of Hitler's eugenics movement to continue on today, even in our country, and now it is everywhere. And that's what we're exposing, and we're exposing exactly how they're doing this, not only modifying the human race, Gary, but we're exposing how this is happening against people's will. The bulk of the planet is already being genetically modified, and they don't even realize it.
We're talking to Pastor Billy Crone, and he's much more than a pastor. He's a speaker. He is a writer. He puts together information that you need. And by the way, speaking of information, we publish a monthly magazine called The Prophecy Watcher. Here's how you can get your subscription.
In case you haven't noticed, the whole world is spinning out of control. But we are not surprised because many of the things taking place were prophesied in the Bible thousands of years ago. That's why we want to offer you a very special subscription to our magazine, The Prophecy Watcher, that will keep you on the cutting edge of Bible prophecy. Stay informed on prophetic world events. Follow the nuclear threats from Russia and Iran, China's march to world domination, the likelihood of another global pandemic, the rise of artificial intelligence and transhumanism, war in the Middle East, the UFO phenomenon, and the latest technology preparing the world for the mark of the beast. With your gift of $50 or more to support the worldwide outreach of Prophecy Watchers, you will receive 12 issues of the magazine in either print or digital format. You will also receive 10 bonus DVDs that feature in-depth teaching on the ancient book of Enoch, heaven and the New Jerusalem, the biblical case for the rapture, a look at how God put the gospel in the stars, what really happened at the Tower of Babel, and Ezekiel's prophecy on the battle of Gog and Magog. This special offer is available anywhere in the United States with free shipping included. Don't wait. Pick up the phone right now and call the toll-free number on your screen or visit us at prophecywatchers.tv. Stand with us today and help us take the message of Christ's soon return to the whole world.
Well, welcome back. Our guest, Billy Crone. Billy and I go back a ways, and I love what you do. You are dynamic. You never stand still. Every time I talk to you, you've got a new project.
Yeah.
And, of course, we're talking now about eugenics and the rise of the Nephilim. There is a process. Now, behind all of this is Satan. And we read about this in Bible prophecy.
Right.
And this thing comes to its full-blown horror in the book of Revelation.
Yeah, absolutely.
The things that we're seeing right now are going to be greatly magnified during the tribulation, but we can sort of have a little peek at what's coming, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Gary, because maybe some of the viewers are saying, like, man, this is kind of crazy stuff. Why are we talking about this as Christians? Why do we need to know? Well, that's the title. It's not just Klaus Schwab explaining that there's two sides to the reset, not just an economic reset, but a human reset. Eugenics, where's this coming from? Hitler's eugenics movement, Aryan race mentality, is back in full force on steroids. But it's a what? And the rise of the Nephilim. And the reason why it's entitled that is there's a reason why this is happening, Gary. And this is why we need to be equipped on this as Christians. Because Jesus said this, Matthew 24:37, he said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. So Jesus said, how are you going to know when his second coming is getting close, which is at the end of the 7-year tribulation, is the context there, not the rapture. But how do you know when that's getting close? He says, when you see a repeat of the days of Noah. What was going on in the days of Noah? Well, there in Matthew 24, Jesus gives us one clue. There was this lackadaisical attitude of the coming judgment of God, eating and drinking and giving in marriage. Are we there? Yeah, that attitude's everywhere. You go back to the Genesis 6 account, and that gives you two more clues. What were the days of Noah like? The Genesis 6 account says that the thoughts of man were continually wicked all the time, and it grieved God's heart. Are we at the point where people just continually think about evil and things of that nature? Absolutely. That's prevalent everywhere. You can't escape it, whether from the media, the billboards, whatever people's mentality. Just the very fact that everybody lives for self, which is the number one law of Satanism that came out of that, is evil. So we're there. But it's the third one, Gary, that a lot of people, except for your ministry and a handful of others, they just skip over and they don't deal with. But it's a part of the days of Noah, and it's being repeated by these guys. Hence the title, Klaus Schwab, Eugenics and the Rise of the Nephilim. The Genesis 6 count says it got so wicked in the days of Noah, they weren't just scoffing at God's coming judgment, the flood, at that time, the first time. They weren't just, wicked thinking all the time. They did something so wicked that God says, that's it, I had it, and I have to hit a restart on humanity. Right? And that was the Nephilim issue. And that was the sons of God, the fallen angels, went to the daughters of men, and they had children by them. Right? And it created something non-human that the Bible calls...
Talk about genetic modification.
Exactly. And my term that I use is, they're call it for what you will. This is what the Scripture says. But basically, the thing that was going on in Noah's day, that God had to hit a restart button on humanity, was the fact that you had a hybridization of humanity going on.
Yes.
Humans were being turned into non-humans. That's about as plain as you can make that text.
Right.
Gary, this is what's going on today. That's why the title is Klaus Schwab Eugenics. It's coming from Hitler, but it's the rise of the Nephilim. This is a major mega sign, this second half of the Great Reset that hardly anybody's talking about. These guys desire, as transhumanists, to turn us into a race of non-humans, a what? A hybridization of humanity. And it isn't just humans, it's every aspect of God's creation. We also bring this out. They are already modifying plants and insects and animals. Pick any plant, pick any insect, pick any animal. Oh, by the way, that's our food supply, plants and animals. That's a whole other thing. And humans as well. And they're mixing and matching us as humans with other animals and other stuff and different characteristics. And we even have on tape a geneticist that I interviewed who's in this field. And I said, you know, what's it going to take? You know, how, that's the elephant in the room, right? How much can you be genetically modified? And technically, scientifically, from your point of view, you're no longer a human. And you know what they said? 1%.
1%.
1%. A lot of people, oh, okay, I get them eating GMO foods and they're doing all this other stuff. And we haven't got to the issue of the jab issue. And who are these people who have the audacity to think that it is their duty to change humanity into a new humanity? And one of the ones I'll just explain real quick, Gary,
All right.
is Jared Kushner. Got him on tape. And it blew me away. He's on tape promoting his new book since he's left the White House. And he literally says, here's what he's been doing since he left the White House. He's been working out, watching a little bit better health, because he believes it's his generation that will be, and it's on tape, that will be the first generation that we will live forever. He's a transhumanist.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking as I listen to you, and wait a minute, what did you just say? This thing started back in the 20s with Nazi scientists,
Absolutely,
and we've all read about the Nazi scientists. It came up through the migration of certain scientists from Europe into the United States up to today. In other words, this thing's been going on for a long time, and we haven't heard about it. It's percolating along under the line of sight, let's put it that way, just beyond our ability to see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And we trace that trail. Klaus Schwab not only grew up in Hitler, and he maintained this mentality himself as he furthered to develop the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, Gary, isn't just about changing the economics of the world, and they meet annually as a forum to decide on that, against our will, by the way, and against national sovereignty, by the way. They want to change humanity. But again, the other thread is, while he's doing that over here, the United States government, under Operation Paperclip, brought these Nazis over who did not change their mindset or mentality, allowed them to continue with their technology, not just rocket scientists, but also eugenicists. And then here comes Klaus, and they're working together. We traced the trail, and they needed a trigger, Gary, to start it off, not just to an excuse to reset the economy, but even as an excuse to begin the procedures to genetically modify the human race into a better, improved race. And that event was COVID.
So who's going to improve the race? Man or God? I'm going with my Bible, let me tell you, because God made a promise to us all. It's called being born again.
Right.
And you preach that all the time.
Yeah.
And I want to be among the improved, but I'm going to let God do it, not man.
Yeah.
And really, that's what the fight's all about, right?
Well, it is. You're right. It's a spiritual battle, right? And again, it's what Satan does. This is Satan's modus of operandus. You take God's truth, you take God's character, you twist it, contort it, pervert it. And this is what he's doing to all of God's creation. God created all of life, the animals, the plants, the earth, everything in, humans, male and female. And what's Satan do? He's coming and twisting, perverting, because he hates God. He also hates us as Christians. He hates humanity because we're created in the image of God. And so here he is, just like he almost pulled off at the time of the first judgment, Noah's flood. He got down, Gary, to just 8 people, Noah and his family. That was it. Everything else was corrupted. And then God hit a restart button. Well, shocker, now he's doing it on the cusp of the next coming judgment.
Wow.
It really is happening, Gary. And this is, I've been blowing the whistle. Listen, it isn't just these guys want to do an economic reset, mark of the beast, biometric, cashless society. Yes, you better flip the coin over and look at the other side. The other side is now, at the same time, they want to repeat the same sin of Noah's day, and we're going to create a new humanity, listen, against people's will.
You know, I'm thinking about the gospel, and I'm thinking about the term born again. And I was born again, praise the Lord, many, many years ago. These people have taken the term born again and turned it upside down on its head. Mm-hmm. They say, well, yes, you can be born again through good chemistry and genealogy and experimentation in the lab. You'll be born again. I guarantee you that they can't compete with our Lord.
Oh, no. And again, that's the lie of Satan, right? Genesis 3. You don't listen to God, listen to Satan, and you'll be like God. These guys doing this believe, Gary, and this is on tape. We got them on tape multiple times. They believe they're the new gods. I'm not making that up. It's not hyperbole. It's coming out of their mouth. They believe they're the new gods of the planet. And it is their duty as the new gods to recreate humanity into a better image. And they believe that they don't need, and they mock Jesus, they mock God on tape. They say, we don't need to wait for another coming of Jesus Christ to live forever. We can do it ourselves. A couple of geeks in the laboratory can do it. They do that. They mock. But they admit, they say, because we don't need Jesus, we will live forever with science and technology. We're going to genetically modify ourselves so that we have super intelligence, super well-being, super longevity. And again, we bring all that out as well in their so-called methodology. But the concerning thing is, listen, it's one thing if you want to do that to yourself. Gary, they're doing this to us against our will, and this is no joke.
They're toying with the food supply, and before this program, Billy waxed eloquent on that. So we could do a whole different program and just talk about what's happening to food alone. Yeah. And I think many of us have heard that on the news. Billy, let's take a pause, and I want to let people know how they can get their copy of Eugenics and the Rise of the Nephilim.
Satan is the great copycat. Since the dawn of creation, whatever God called good, Satan has tried to destroy. God made a covenant with Noah and gave humanity the beautiful rainbow. You know what happened next. God gave us the gospel and the stars, and Satan turned it into horoscopes and fortune-telling. But Satan saved his most deceitful actions for mankind, men and women made in the image of God. Genesis chapter 6 shares the story. Fallen angels created a hybrid race on earth, bringing the flood of Noah. This was his ultimate goal, to corrupt the DNA of man, God's most precious creation. This is Billy's third expose on Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. After reviewing the material in this book, the publisher refused to print the book and then canceled Billy's entire collection of prophecy books going back many years. What is in this book they found so offensive? There was a time they operated in the shadows, but now, with the help of wealthy globalists and a corrupt media, their actions are out in the open. Billy's new book is available for your gift of $25 or more, with shipping included anywhere in the USA. For our international friends, please note that additional shipping fees will apply. The complete expanded DVD set is available for your gift of $40 or more. Buy either the book or the DVD set, and we'll send you a bonus DVD featuring Billy's best presentations on the New World Order delivered at a recent prophecy conference. If you want the entire inside scoop, our online bookstore offers the Klaus Schwab book collection, all 3 books Billy has prepared on this man and his plans. Or, if you prefer, the 3 individual DVD sets that share the story of his satanic efforts to control humanity through the mark of the beast, the Klaus Schwab DVD collection. Just give us a call, toll-free, at the number you see on your screen to place your order. God has a plan for man to live forever. He calls it eternal life in a place the Bible calls the New Jerusalem. Billy's book and DVDs will introduce you to that plan. No clones, no replacement parts, no tears or sadness. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we will be changed forever. Thanks for watching today, and remember to keep looking up. Jesus is coming soon.
Well, we're back with Billy Crone. And Billy, I just thank the Lord for people like you. Got a lot of energy. You never stop. Always coming out with new product, DVDs, books. And I think you're sort of at the cutting edge of exposing what is a horror when I think of it.
Well, to me, Gary, it's like, I go back to this phrase. People say, man, you're always talking about these crazy, creepy topics. How about lighten up a little bit? I can't. I can't as a Christian. A Christian, we're supposed to tell the truth. A Christian, we are morally obligated to speak up on behalf of the unborn when they're being murdered inside. And I would hope that as Christians, nobody disagrees with that. Gary, people are being murdered outside the womb by these same people, and they're being genetically modified against their will. How could we not speak up? I don't see any difference in that. No. We're supposed to tell the truth as Christians. Plus, the reason why these guys get away with it is because people keep their mouths shut. But what's the old axiom? All it takes for evil to triumph is what? For good men to do nothing. And plus, for me, it's like the bigger issue is this is all a sign that our departure has to be near, because it's a major mega prophecy sign. The days of Noah are being repeated before our very eyes, which means Jesus Christ is getting ready to come back. And so, therefore, as a compassionate Christian, I need to finish my time, not in fear, but I need to be telling as many people as I can how to become born again. You want to be recreated? Don't let these guys do it. You'll end up in hell.
Absolutely.
Let God recreate you through Jesus Christ and join us in true utopia, a place called heaven, the millennial kingdom, and the new heavens and new earth.
Quickly, I'd like to read a verse. 2 Timothy 3, verse 1. You know this one by heart.
Yeah.
This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. And it goes on and on and on. You can read it for yourself. Men have become lovers of their own selves. They say, oh, we can do it. We don't need God. We don't need anything else. All we need is better living through biology, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and people don't realize that's what caused Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28, the fall of Satan. I, me, myself, and I, the unholy trinity, selfism, a way of life, self-worship, self-respect, self. That's Satanism. That's what caused the fall of Satan. Plus, I came out of this, Gary, the number one law of Satanism, the number one law is do what you will shall be the whole of the law. That's everywhere in our society. And you wonder why it's getting so devilish? You're training people from wee high to act like Satan, right? But again, we counter that with the truth. He's a liar and the father of all lies. He's a murderer, and he's been one from the beginning, John chapter 8. And so as Christians, it's our obligation to get people out to tell them, listen, this is what's going on. Don't fall for this. We care about you, right? But there is one way of escape from this horrible thing that's coming, and that is through Jesus Christ and Him alone.
Amen. Billy Crone, pastor, and by the way, Las Vegas, Nevada, and not only pastor teacher, but he produces books and DVDs, and he is, believe me, doing the work of the Lord. Billy, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gary.
I'm Gary Stearman. Hey, you keep watching. We are.